Hey, Rosie, Lucas, and Nico now.
Diablo just gonna reset for a second, make sure he's still back up near that 100 threshold, then Andy will making sure to take that one. Andy was below that Spencer threshold. Diablo see that 100 take that over. So that's what we talk about right now. You can see on the right hand side, Diablo Andy was below, which means he takes that 25 damage every 10 seconds. And it also signals to Diablo, hey, I can just tag this guy up and then wait, because any damage does to that player, as long as they go down within a minute, he will still get credit for that elimination. He will still get the point, and he can go over and safely pick up that boost.
That is another aspect of competitive Fortnite that everyone has to think about. At Fortnite, it plays a factor into so many of these players' games. Sometimes they forget about it because they're pumping, they're rolling, they got their mats, they got their ammo, they got their builds, they're in zone, and then they're like, wait, I didn't tag anybody this game. I gotta look for tags. 50-50 on the other side above, and a good amount above. If you're about 100 to 150 above, you're looking in a good spot. And that's completely good to take advantage and find swamps with one AR shot. That is what you needed. We saw Thomas HQ do that in the first game. Just find any sort of elimination that you can, far away or up close. Don't even have to risk yourself getting tagged up for it. Beautiful elimination.
Yeah, but you notice how he's doing that behind a cone, editing a single wall. That's to avoid all of those hunting rifle headshots that we've seen come out time and time again. You don't want to get a game ender. You're looking for some of those tags to make sure you're safe. But that being said, when we talk about tags and going through, that's generally meaning you're looking for long-range shots, not with the intention of actually trying to eliminate the opponent, but just doing some damage so you're not threatened by the Storm Surge, as Flois and Froggy puts a prime example of why you need a cone in a window and to limit the number of angles you have, because so many of these top-level players will be carrying those weapons, particularly in EU that is known for their snipes and hitting their shots. Well done from the game number 1 winner, who's continuing to roll with the momentum here, boxed up next to Arden, pass it over the side as we're transitioning now into that mid-game kind of territory as players are starting to get closer and looking for priority in terms of zones number 4.
What an elimination. He needed it too. He only had 2 hunting rifle shots. That first shot needed to hit. He didn't really have a chance to follow up if it didn't. Very heads-up play by Flois. First place, taking down second place. That's pretty good for your mentality. Even if he goes down here, be like, hey, I took out my competition, so I know I'm pretty secure there. But we're still pretty early on into the game, so can't really do much.
And it's important to note when they stress during the top of show how every single interaction matters. Right there, Flois eliminating his direct competition right now. The player who is closest to him, who's able to pressure up. That means if he's able to build up a lead now, it's going to be that much more substantial, because effectively he's eliminated one of the players who can threaten him the most. But now we're on board here with ADN. We saw him have an amazing run yesterday, pushing in. Right there, you can see the Dorito edit being taken down, and that's such a good push. Fastroki was looking to set up a crash pad there with that edited cone in his box, but ADN dropped in and then occupied the space, stuck to the AR, and then just used the weapon to close it out. Well done, putting a key pick there in a mid-circle.
And he desperately needed his match were not looking good. Still are not looking good as well. So he's going to have to find another impact elimination along the way. As we're up here with Arden, again, stats are not looking good. Now, there is a player's loot there in front of him that he more likely got the equal from. He's not actually prioritizing picking it up right now. It seems like he's just looking to build and then go for the loot. Mr. X is nearby, and he's nearby as well. Arden's in an awkward spot. We've got Scram in this game here as well. Andy, Cass, and Slick. A lot of players still alive. 61. We talk about Storm Surge. This is a threshold where it's 50. 11 players need to go down. Starter makes the heads up play to get a box, and Crash Pad's gonna come through, but that's Stafford. Does he hit the shots come through? And he does. Maestro gonna go down the aggressive play, not gonna be rewarded. And Arden be rewarded for his passiveness.
Yeah, and you can see the reason why so many players are fighting right now, both that Storm Surge and trying to get priority. We talk about fourth zone. Look in the bottom right-hand corner. Everyone is looking to box up and stake their claim on as much real estate as possible for when that half-in, half-out reveals. You don't want to be sharing a spot next to somebody as you go to rotate, and they're looking to clear out the players nearby. As Arden picks up Flois there, so 1 and 2 are down. That's going to open up the leaderboard. Tons of players will have an opportunity to charge up. Eyes are now on Hen and whether or not he can kind of extend his lead out there, as Arden also picks up Lecce. Mongrel getting scout there in a brilliant job because he's now cleared out all the players on this tarp. In that next, the half in, half out, the one before moving, is pulling directly over to this cluster of players. So Jason, Benji, Helix, Wizen, Mr. X will all be over there, sharing the half in, half out with Arden. They all have priority on everyone else who's rotating into the zone. So they're going to be fighting among themselves to make sure they're safe and not going to get ambushed, and then swap over to what Tayson's doing now, and looking to catch the players, burning their rotation, burning launch pads and crash pads, trying to get into this zone.
And this is very lucky for Tayson because, again, express the amount of builds in the inventory. He only had 54. That is not where you want to be for this in-game. So he has to find an elimination to get to these zones effectively. He does have the same crash pad, but when you start to use those crash pads, you start wasting those builds to box up, and he needs to find somebody. If shots come through, he's not going to be able to beat people out of here just yet. But we do see Nebby unfortunately falling, but he did get that top 50 placement threshold, which is what a lot of people are playing that consistency. Hey, at least I went down inside of that. Tayson, however, is looking to get aggressive, and I believe that's on, I think this is Benji. I'm 97% sure Benji is right nearby. If Benji makes the wrong edit, he goes into a box that's not his. Tayson is going to go aggressive. Tayson is going to be popped. Edit's going to come through. No crash pad in. Shots coming through. And Benji's going to go down. Tayson's going to take him down.
You called it. He was looking for it, waiting for Benji. He heard him trying to set up and get some space. Knew he was pressured around the side. The horizontal crash pad entrance puts him behind Benji. Cleans it up with the tactical shotgun, and well done. And Hen, the third place player on the leaderboard before the last game, going on the high ground right now, has priority position with Enos and Mongrel just below him. Also Floki on the same ground, but we're going to hop on over to become Legends player. He's been playing so well recently, cleaning up the cash stuff on his birthday. Had a phenomenal performance yesterday to also guarantee him spot here, and he has priority on this next zone. What that means is he's the closest to where the safe zone has to go past. So as it funnels and everyone else rotates, they have to go past 10. You do not get to pass 10, and you notice he's built so much space around him, so he can't be shot at in return. All of these shots are completely safe, so anything he's able to convert on will turn into points for him here, as another placement point does take over. Now he's not shooting through that wall. That is just one of the graphical issues with the replay. He's picking up tags, but now you can see setting up a crash pad, going to use it to go on the rotation late. They picked up a key elimination onto Wyzit there, as we have our top 35.
And it's such a key elimination because he gets Jules glider gun, and now he's got free rotation everywhere. He could win this game based off that elimination. It was such an impact elimination, but he's being a little bit too greedy on that zone. He did get tagged up, but he's still good. Rotation coming in. We do see Sapek going down, and rotation, and Squeeze went down as well. So a lot of the big names are out of this game, but Han looking to keep his stream alive and take down one player who landed right on top of him. That was a very, very handsome elimination onto Pablo, but he's not that healthy. He has those needs in his inventory, about 126 effective HP. He needs to find another one.
He needs to find the outside. He can't be in this cluster. It's really weird to take the grapple gun and then immediately go into the middle because you don't really have the ability to utilize it. And that's what we're looking for, getting towards the outside of the zone so he has more options there. Anas, teammate up on the high ground there, but this is the solos competition, just playing for the same org. We have Gamers Origin, Deceptos there on the middle as we take over. Top 25, another point going through. Anas running through the high ground. Reason still in the match, and you can see Deceptos picks up Target there as top 20 takes over. Another point going through, and right as I say his name, Reason ends up going down. This is looking like a Become Legends top 15 right now, as they have 3 or 4 players still up, but Deceptos trying to find the space, finding a good job, targeting his way through, and making sure that he owns all of the builds on this level as we close in on top 15. Bad Sniper missing out on a key placement point. Interceptos looking to try and find a pick on the Scratch Pads player, doing a good job to deny the rotation, finds the tag, but not able to necessarily convert it. So many shots, but no elimination coming through, and he has to find that. That's such a key pickup inside the top 15 we go. Can he chase down this player? He finally gets it. That snipe going down, but Hen is still up, picking up Orion as we get into our top 10.
The Sentinels is going to have to make a play. It's going to have a little bit of an A-card. You see it. Gold filter there as well. It is going to fall. Slick's going to fall, and Panda not in place of points being missed out by both of them. That's a huge boost as well. Sentinels able to hold on to the play on the other side. Shots are coming through. He's getting the tags, and he does. Frenzy Vinci is going to go down. The Sentinels needs to get out of the zone, though. He is sitting and thinking he doesn't have any floppers. He's looking to get it, and he does. When a shot comes through, Loki going to be the one to take him down, and now two eliminations here for Loki. The player right on top of him. He's got to be careful. Shots go through. Back in the zone goes Loki. Picking down very, very low. Now inside the zone. He's good to go, but this is looking really, really rough. He doesn't have floppers. Mr. X is going to go down. Stacy going to be the one to do it. He's still trying to be popped there. And look at Anosh just pyro whopping all the way up top. He's just walking over old Bills. I don't know how many Bills he's got left, but he may be able to win this just solely based on the fact that it's going over old Bills.
And the old Bills giving him priority, that moving zone, we talked about it, it just randomly pulls a distance back away, which means you can continue your rotation. And on top of having the old Bills, the saving grace has the mythic loadout as well. So this is so big for him as we move into the top 5. 4 players left, but Anas has complete control over this lobby. You can see Taysom as well in the middle. Scramguard and Snazy are going to round out your top 4. Who will finish it off? Will Anas continue the run of the caddy corner loot, proving it out, or can somebody from the low ground shut him down as Taysom picks up Scramguard? So each elimination, each placement here, an additional point as Taysom and Snazy right there. But the shockwave launcher comes out right away and knocks him over the zone. And Nas does get tagged, but is able to pop the flop in the zone and then gets the follow-up tag with 6 HP to spare. Become Legends of Nas from the high ground. 4 eliminations in the Victory Royale, taking game number 2.
The flop was what he needed to pop, and he did do just that. The Victory Royale going to be nice. I think may be able to move into first place after that game just on the number of points and the eliminations, but we're definitely going to need the analysts to break that one down, so we're going to send it right over to them here in a moment.
Thank you guys so much. Great cast here in game number 2 of Europe. Anas finding the Victory Royale there. Mad props to him. Now here's the thing though. Taysom, another big name we're used to seeing. We keep talking about the quality of players. This is someone who is coming in strong. Ends that game in 5 eliminations. Had he picked up that DR, that 4-point swing would have actually moved him higher up the leaderboard. We'll see that as we take a look at the standings and look at who is currently holding down that number 1 spot.
Usually who ends up winning the game is always at first. That is the same story here right now. BL and us all the way up top, Victory Royale, 7 elims, 28 points. But what happened that game was a bunch of eliminations from top players, changing the standings from second all the way to second.
And there's BL Hen in second there. Somebody definitely to keep an eye on because he plays 4th in the first game. Not necessarily the biggest boost in points this game. Other names too, DeCiptos, who's the king of placing 5th place, the French legend who came out there in the Invitational, starting to rise up. But then Taysom, Zeke, you mentioned it, getting that 2nd place will boost him way up, but he could have done more. Reason still stays around the 9th place mark, but still improves at least in this game.
There. Move on over Letwin, Scramguard, Bad Sniper, Kinzel, Mongo, Carrot. I mean, look at all these names. Thomas HD, Floki, Frenzy Fishy. There's so much heat coming off of the grand finals right now. Every single person could walk away the victor, and especially when we're this tight, and we still have 4 games left to go, boys. Anything can still happen. There's all these guys in the top making these power moves right now.
So you're just saying, look at the names. I'm looking at the points too. You're mentioning the type. It's like a 2-point difference between everyone. They are neck and neck. Some of the Slicks is here too. Flames are deep. Like all these guys are playing so well, but they're playing well while others are too. And no one can really break away. Benji, who was just sitting in the top 10 at 24th, and from what I'm seeing, he's having good games still. It's not enough though for that number one spot.
It's kind of another kind of slow start for Benji, which I think some people are maybe starting to get a little used to. He always rises at the top, but that might be a sign that it's back to, the old Benji of Grand Finals, the one who does get good performances and is in the top 10, top 15, very solid out of 100 players, but not quite that win that he's looking for.
Together, guys, we got to talk about it. More of these powerful plays coming out of these impact players, making what they need to happen, really manifesting this win right here, right now.
Yeah, Grand Finals is all about power, and it comes in many different forms. We're starting off with how Power struggled on early games off-spawn fights, and Noah Riley, Mr. Savage, they had a big battle down. Noah showed that he was more powerful.
And it's all because Benji scares Noah into going somewhere else, but into somebody who might end up struggling because of it. Benji, though, saw a sign of weakness, and because of that, he will pounce, try to grab more space. Kiriachi looking in the background, and Benji knows, and he will hunt. This is one of the best players at fighting in the early and mid-game, and Benji is not scared whatsoever.
Power vacuum basically here over at Slippy Swamp, and Benji gets in the box with style, breaks through, hits a big shot, and shows his power afterwards as well.
And is that show of power, is that show of confidence something that we're used to seeing out of Benji? I say yes, but it might be overconfidence as he pushes a fight against one of the best players in the world. Now we're switching over to Flowers, and for him, it's a shift.
Yeah, for him, he was holding power in game number one, continues to, dropping down Froggy, who was in second place on the leaderboards at the time, but holding power sometimes comes with a cost. He loses it over to Advise, and we see one of our new players who are in that second place slot.
Second place for Head after a very good game number one, and follows it up with a pretty decent game number two. A 10th place for him, but a couple of elims to boot. And that will put him where he needs to be if he wants to grab that crown at the end of the day, the ultimate sign of power. He falls in 11th, but that's at least solid enough.
Yeah, this is where power starts for a lot of players in this game. It was Anas who ends up winning, who had Caddy Corner and the Mythic Elite as well. The Shockwave Launcher, hits charge shotgun too. And he just made power become his tool in this endgame. He became legend incarnate, literally just personifying the organization he's on and using this entire endgame as a playground, bouncing people up, shooting them down afterwards. Look at that two-piece right there. Anas looks so dynamic, and yes, you saw Flowers with the hunting rifle, you saw him with the charge shotgun last time, but for me, it was Anas's gameplay, his creativity that really separated him from the pack and showed us his use of power.
And that's kind of what we were talking about at Caddy Corner last time. We saw Thomas there for a brief moment, but this time it goes down. Kit spawns down at the gas station, and that's where Anas is lurking. He had a good game last time in 10th place, but if you want to become a legend at the end of the day, if you want to solidify yourself among the great, immortalize yourself, you need to have games like that. And Anas and Hen, both at the top of the leaderboards, org mates, and they're standing strong.
Both of these guys are definitely looking to break away. I mean, Anas is ahead of the game, 28 points, but Shai, is that going to hold?
It's going to hold in game number one with Flowis. I feel like when Anas gets that top slot, he holds it completely, especially at Caddy Corner. So I feel like, yes, that's my call.
I like it. Quick and concise. With that being said, guys, let's throw it into game number 3 here in EU of the FNCS Grand Final. Disasters, we're sending it back your way into the action.
Salut Tom.
Thank you so much, Steve Shailamala. Insightful as always. Everyone is looking to become a legend, or right now to become legend players, occupying first and second. And if you're just joining us, welcome. My name is Sundown, joined here by the fantastic, as always, Play Selling. This is match number 3, the halfway point of the EU FNCS Solos Grand Final. And if you're watching at Party Royale and you've just dropped in, hit one of those telephone booths with changing stations. Make sure you get your favorite outfit on and head on over to the main stage. Catch the action out. You can see where everyone's dropping right now. And if you notice, he not only has one player on it, so I'm interested to see who that player is. This time, is it Noah Riley, who came out on top? And of course, who's going to come out on Caddy Corner on top? That is always the question. And all of these players mind.
Cutting over the top, away from switching over to an offensive landing. Over to the weather station side, Patty Whiskey looking to figure out if he's going to be able to go through, pick up any amount of that loot, drop down the roof area, see what's going on. As of right now, Bill looks like he's actually going to have a contesting advantage. Also, a number of players off and over just to the southwest of him. So right now, first shot coming out, we talked about those early hunting rifle tags, but not quite going to find it again. Game number 2 winner, current first place right now.
And he's in a very good spot to keep that first place, but Pin's right behind him. You've got to keep your eye
Les
on
gens sur live, dites-moi si vous voulez que je me rapproche de l'écran pour que vous voyez mieux. Ou si je reste là.
So that player up, the nice edit, going to drop the player down, the edit around as well, he's got to box up, but the bitch is going to escape as Adil looking to crash that on in, using the jump there. He's actually not going to go in, he's going to take the wall and the cone up top, and that was so smart to outplay Advise there.
Well done picking up Advise there. We talked about kind of the different types of crash pads and the variations you're able to use. Him jumping up, preventing him from falling in, so then when Advise went to exit the situation, got picked up, and now over to Slippery Swamp. We've watched this fight happen last time. Benji aggressively pushed Kiriachi, saying, no splitting going on here. This is my side, but Kiriachi now looking to be the predator instead of the prey, and closing in on Benji as he's hitting these split barrels. So wants to kind of resolve this beforehand, and now box to box. How do 2 of the best players in the world close out this box fight? Do they look to take each other on, or are they just kind of trying to disengage the situation? Right now, Benji's saying, hey, I need more math if we're going to go toe-to-toe.
He disengaged perfectly, got up and is out. Also want to put out 35 of the current players also competing in the FNCS Invitational Finals. So they've been here before, they've been in this grand finals, they know what to do, especially these 2 players on the screen right now. Kiriachi is going to take some damage there from Benji, who is keeping that pressure up. It's that rare tactical shotgun, and now need to find a creative way inside. Kiriachi actually went up and around the top where he's changing high ground and exchanging shots. Benji takes a nice tag there on Kiriachi. Still doesn't get to take any damage himself. Kiriachi is still pushing. This is exactly what we expect from him, and Benji managed to drop down. Kiriachi was ready to back and forth, going in favor of Benji right now. Kiriachi keeping the pressure up. Benji going to get tagged up a lot there because he couldn't build the floor. Trying to pick that for that code as the edits come through. Benji going through old builds, which is really good. But once you reset that metal, it's very, very weak and it's easy to hit. He's put some distance in between him, Kiriachi, and Dominia's side.
As it looks like Dominia's side hearing the action going on, wants to take a peek inside, but he very well knows who's there. I'm not sure you want to jump on into that pond. Don't want to get boxed like a fish between those 2. It's more like getting boxed between 2 sharks. A rocket hard place to pick which one and who's who, because Benji right now just again looks like he's done enough to fend off Kiriachi. Say, how long are we going to do this for? How long are we going to burn that and just sit here and force each other back? Because both of these players are good enough to hold the other off, or at least make them pay for it if you don't get that initial ambush off of the start, which is why you now see Kiriachi kind of backing up a little bit, making sure he gets some map before heading back into it, Benji again, looking to potentially restart this engagement.
And I'm not surprised with Kiriachi. He is very, very aggressive, but thought the Chiefs turns out to use any of their favors in 7-4. Now being aggressive onto Diablo. Diablo didn't get the initial shots there. And now 7-4 can disengage if they want to, but on the edge of the zone, it's really hard to disengage because you're trying to run away and then you get shot in the back. And just unfortunate there. From box to box, diagonal to diagonal, Diablo and 7-4 looking to do a little peanut butter at it, looking at that jump shot there, 7-4 looking to get any sort of wall thing back, and he does. Diablo ready for it, the shot comes through the quick reset there, gonna get the tag in favor of 7-4, but still, not as much HP there as Diablo. His shots are still coming through, he does pop a mini, continues back and forth over these peanut butter areas. That's that triangle edit that you see. Actually goes in, he goes aggressive with that crash set. But Diablo was ready for it. Did you see how many edits he had, how many space he had in between him and 7-4? He was predicting that perfectly. But 7-4 is ready for the edit. He's ready for Diablo hopping up, and he said, you know what? I baked the heal out, but I'm going to get that elimination.
Yeah, a really good job from Seven for there, baiting Diablo into something that he had owned and then committed into the fight, caught him with the builds out, and then following up with the tactical shotgun. And it's really fruitful to resolve that fight because there was a player boxed up right on the edge of zone who would have been able to rain shots down. And again, if you are just joining us, there's the format on the right-hand side. You can see first round of placement points coming through top 75, next one at top 50. Then it's every 10 players to fall until you reach top 25. Then it's every 5 players until you're into the top 3. So definitely want to be making those end games, but also 1 point per each elimination. As Terran will pick up Phoenix there, will also get a point, and that's his second one.
And he may have taken coolest out of his game, but right now he's the coolest of the authority, picking that elimination up. He's been very, very good. He actually, I believe, one of the players that came through the open track of the FNCS Invitational. That happened a couple months ago, but still maintaining prowess over the authority here. He was here back when it was the agency, so dominant performance from Carrot. He's also got his zone there as well. You see him already building up and refarming. In this Team Meadows, however, Ardent looking to set up an ambush like we talked about, hiding in this little upgrade room. He didn't have anybody waiting to upgrade their loot. He's got a great charge to do with a legendary at that. And look, somebody is taking the bait. They are coming into the house. The question is, will they open it? He set a trap up perfectly. He set a trap up, but he put a wall there. Put a wall there. Feels everything being popped there. Already, no, not going to be able to spring the trap. His grip was ready for it. And grip turns the tide.
Sometimes it sets a trap in the bait, but turns out you are the bait and you don't reel in what you want. As we talked about, he was looking for a slurp fish and instead pulled one of the loot sharks there, Grip, turning it around for rough game number 8, getting eliminated pretty much basically off drop. Started trying to spring a little bit of an ambush there, but instead going down. Good job from Grip himself. Also had a very, very, very impressive run to make the qualifier here. And now on board the B11 Casey, the player who was stopped super successful in the week yesterday. Probably hasn't necessarily really converted it today. Consistently shooting towards the top. He was actually 7th coming in, so not doing too bad today, but probably also a little bit outside in terms of the placement that he would be wanting, averaging a top 27 placement and 5 units total across the game.
And I think that maybe due to the amount of loot that he's getting, he isn't maybe with 2 other players. It's really, really hard to find all that loot. And you see it in his inventory right now. He has a crash pad, but that common AR is not going to net you a lot of eliminations. He's going to have to find a way to upgrade that, whether that be through impact elimination or finding one naturally. It seems like this is the open side of zone, and that meaning there's not that many people all around him. He's got a little space to work with there. When he doesn't have that much space, there's a lot of players who buy that sniper. He does have 15 points, a decent first couple of games. It's not where he wants to be. There is a player nearby, he's got to be careful with the sniper. If you don't have it, he's going to turn the beam back onto him, but not going to hit it. He's only 22 above close, so that is nowhere in the rotation. You see it already creeping down to 19.
Yeah, and that Stormster special on the right side of your screen there. The number for zone number 3 is 70. So currently 17 players have to go down. Bad Sniper will be starting to look for tags here, but also doesn't necessarily want to overbuild himself too much. He doesn't have a ton of materials and he is out in the open, so if he has a lot of players who often end up standing towards him, it can be difficult. He's not in the safe zone yet, and now only 4 above. We talked about how kind of that threshold. We saw him kicking, so he's trying to trade some tags out, get himself above. We have Ovation area and Smudge closing in on him, as well as 2 players already in the zone coming back, and this is going to be key. And he got it! Huge tags in the Elam coming on to Meta Shrimsy. Super unfortunate, using the crash pad desperately trying to get in zone, but even with those tags, only 62 above.
And you can tell he's not. You think the eliminations of that sniper, maybe we could have set up an ambush here on the Keswick. Immediate time nearby Sky there as well. The sniper shot is going to ring there. Not actually going to connect onto anybody, but Snipe looking to be aggressive on his tags. It is above Stormster, but not by much as we see Leslie take down the premises limit there. Snipe though has a very good position in the zone. He can rotate to his right or his northeast there to really make a play playing on that side of the zone. His shots are going to completely hurt. That sniper shot coming through. That player got tagged up by everybody. And Opacious Arion is going to fall. No.
With single shot going through there, we talk about it, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take, and it's sometimes worth just throwing the AR bullets over both for Storm Surge tags, but you might get a little bit of that RNG on your side and pick up the elimination. Somebody else did most of the work, the hunting rifle shot coming through, but he'll be the benefactor there as Kinzel now. Going to put some pressure here on the Flopper Michael. Again, a number of players still under that Storm Surge tag, so you can expect the passive players to push through Storm Surge. Will impact the players who've done the least amount of damage to opponents, but Flopper Michael punishing Kinzo there, who was under that pressure, as 4 more players will need to go down before it turns off. Controller 007 picks up Maestro. Damage Malaka also goes down, but you can see Flopper Michael also under pressure here. He was the player who had the brilliant crash pad play yesterday, and he set up another one here and end up converting as now we're swing on over to a Nos, get a nice little replay, see what's going on here. Chaining the crash pads, landing directly on top of the player and catching him over on the side. Ben, what are you doing? Cover your back, man. You can't be doing that on the edge of the zone, but Anas pushing himself further out towards the lead. Don't forget, he was in first place with 28 points, now sitting on 30, courtesy of the elimination and the first place result.
Very great play from Anas to realize that he was being ambushed here as well. He quickly got out of the situation. Now Andy looking to be aggressive, looking to push. The shots are still coming through. Anas continues his dominant solo performance. He played 16 in the solos Evanston Invitational and 9th in DreamHack. And he's recently been turning online, in the past couple months. It's been really great to see him come into someone who could become a legend. Just after being picked up by that organization. It's disengaged though, it gets him a lot. He's able to refarm some of this metal as well if you wanted to hit that fence there. Refarm a lot of this wood as well. Benji picking up an elimination is good for him. But he wasn't a good shot. Now he's being pinched by these players.
I believe he also had a pretty solid performance at DreamHack Anaheim, flying out to that win and making it to the grand final there, but now hopping on board. Another player who was there, Bad Sniper though, under pressure from Atlantis Lecce, trying to get in the box. Bad Sniper disengaging, does have plenty of shields and blockers if he can make the space. However, now in the zone, and that's a 2-tick zone, but as soon as it passes over and it closes, it's going to go to a 5-tick. Right heels coming out to the spike, really beneficial for Bad Sniper there. He has a relatively clear path to the zone now. You can see on that bottom right hand corner, only 1 or 2 players who are going to be in his way.
And that's always unfortunate. Getting eliminated in zone is just trying to rotate through is not doing the same. He's not wide heels with only advantages, and he is popping them this time, but he's got to be careful. This elimination will net him so much. It'll give him a loot. If that player has any wide heels as well, it'll be so good. As Andy is saying, more healthy than a not. There's only one focus. Like Andy is saying, more healthy than a not. There's only one focus. Like you said, 5-tick, and now it goes down. Shots are going through and each other. Andy's got that flopper. He's going to be able to just outlive Anas here. Let's not make the play, but no, Anas going down, and that's number 1 out of the game.
Anas being taken out there. The pressure from the storm, the 5-tick zone. Andy eating all the cabbages, knows exactly where they went, directly into the stomach there. Also has the floppers and the bandages as well. So I'm actually going to argue that he should have used the bandages there and allowed the cabbages to kick himself over the top, but instead going to pop that flopper and limit some of his mid-game and later game options there for off-use if he's now swing on board. With reason, relatively solid performance with a 9th coming into this game, currently scoring on 18 points. So that's a decent loadout for the end game. However, a long rotation he's going to have to make this.
He has no crash pads and only 1 pepper. He's going to have to get creative with it, whether it be third-party in the spike, he just gets spam fall. He's just going to hop in, and that's going to be not you have to reach those balls. You cannot afford to make those mistakes right now.
This is grand finals in Europe, the most played in region, arguably the most aggressive and most talented region as well. If you are able to convert on elimination, please do everything possible to make sure you're safe. It's all about covering yourself up afterwards and allowing yourself to be in a position to continue on in the game and region notice, built up on the high ground, use those hard materials to make sure he's established and safe. But for Strokey, trying to encroach a little bit on this real estate, and that's the place he's going to see Reason opting to drop down and just return to his safety as everyone else is going to rotate into the zone. This is zone number 4. So priority positioning is going to be towards the outside. We're going to be keeping an eye on who ends up going towards high ground and then who is laying out on that low ground.
Easy able to make it here. Another player able to make it into the end game is going to be Savage. And with that off-ball elimination on the Noah Riley, I'm assuming that elimination there. Noah Riley went down early. Gotta be Mr. Savage taking him down, but and it's coming through nice and picked up there by Savage, but someone trying to capitalize on him. What's gonna do? He's gonna pick up a double. He's gonna go down. Squeezy gonna go down. The pressure's not done yet. The crash head's coming in, and the crash head master, Mr. Savage, gonna be able to pick some up there. And he's ready to fight. He's ready to go aggressive, but someone on top of him. Gonna be bad sniper there, trying to box the box. Steady there as well. Savage really needs to make a play to get out of this. Going up into an old build. We'll get him out for now. And what a phenomenal heads-up play. That's what you do when you get elimination. You realize there's more players there by you, and you take them out as well.
Next week, he's picking up an Elam there. I believe that was on Tequila. We have our top 50, so Stern Surge turning back off, second placement point, going over, and don't forget, this is game number 3, so we're about to be at the midway point. This is a fantastic opportunity with a knockdown for somebody else to unseat and become that front runner. We talked so much about momentum and whether or not you can hang on, and whether or not you can get running. And Froggy, a player who thrives on momentum, finding a key Elam there on the backside of the zone, using the launch pad and then getting in on the priority. Half in, half out, now closing in. After this, it will be all moving zones, so it's all about making sure you're safe, finding rotations, figuring out whether or not you're able to get to that next zone, and then trying to punish players around you who aren't doing it as good.
Lewitt looking to capitalize on someone not paying attention to their wall. See, inside the cone, just sitting there waiting. We should crash that in. We've seen it before. We saw it go against Benji there. Hin, it's going to fall as well. Hin goes down. What a big elimination there. Another player near the top of the leaderboard going down. Traffic falling as well. Wick is dropping down though. He knows this player is starting to log. And he wants to push the action because he's only got 53 goals. He definitely needs to find something. His ammo lacking as well. 5 shots with that charge content is going to go through in an instant in this endgame. He has to pick up an elimination. He also does not have priority on rotation because it's pulling away from him. For Crash Cousins inventory will allow him to rotate, but not as effectively as the player that he set this trap. He's waiting for this player to just make a wrong edit and go out. I don't think they're going to fall for it.
He's waiting. He does have priority on the zone. There's a player right next to his box. I wasn't sure if that player was on the cone. He finds 83 tag and then follows up right away. ADN going down in 41st. Misses the placement point. So a huge pick going right there. Mr. Savage still in the lobby as well. We're into the moving circles. That's the late game. You're going to start seeing players burning utility, using all their builds, just trying to get to that next safe zone and avoid fire from their opponents. But you also have to watch out for those sharks and those aggressive players, the playmakers, and the ones who are going to be the ones riding the action as we're on board here. The dual media snipe currently below the threshold towards the Storm Surge, but that should turn off shortly here. Only 7 players need to fall. Dual media snipe will add into it right now, pushing himself above by taking out Grip. Potentially finding a nice little upgrade there. Yep, he will. He will get the legendary shotgun in there as well. We're closing in on top 30. A 7-4 picks up Nate.
And with Ryan's inventory, he has 7 crash pads. 2-2-1 in this finish. When he has as many crashers as he can, his bad sniper is going to be caught trying to take shield. Bongo's in this game. Xyz is in this game. Ludwig is in this game as well. We have yet to see Savage go down. Flowit's in this game here. Rifla as well. 2 eliminations. 79 mills. We'll see if he's going to be able to get any more.
Septos is also still up. We saw him there on the wide. That was the player who was in third. He should be able to push up as every 5 players will be a placement point. Reason gets kicked over by Frenzy Fishy. Orange takes out Cartoon. 7 toward gets Sebi, closing in on top 20. That's another point going over. As now Rifla looking to add his name to that list of the Become Legends players pushing their way up the leaderboard. But Septos picks up Longlock and Savage picks up the Andy. So still a who's to of top players left. So that's everyone in the lobby. Thomas AC gets another one. Mongo picks up Elam and Rifla. Ends Mr. X's run.
Wesh, moi, il y a R sur l'écran. Bah, relance ton jeu. Relance ton jeu ou ta console et normalement tu dois avoir un.
Right as I say that, Thomas H HD with that mythic shockwave launcher. Can we make it? 3 out of 3. Rifle though. Bottom right hand corner of your screen. Dual media snipe. Top right hand. 5 evens for snipe. 3 for rifle. Thomas on the high ground and the wide on your left. And Thomas using it so well, but Riker is doing just as well as he's being aggressive there on the player's lead. That's going to be a squeeze in the box as he is going to get the elimination there. Thomas may have the high ground right now, but Riker is putting on a show. Snipe as well, 5 eliminations. Ludwig going to get taken down there by the deal. Going to take down another one as they're going up the mountain. He's reloading that shotgun. He's going to need it as fast as going through. Takes the eliminations there for him. 4 for Rifle in the bottom right. Thomas still on the high ground. We're going up a mountain. Keen needs to get up. So does Skype. Very low HP. Skype's out of build as well. He's more likely going to take over to the zone as well as Keen. Rifle. Very, very healthy. Flash that up for high ground. Thomas HP. Going to take it for now. The lead is Skype still being aggressive. He's going for it. He does not secure Thomas HP in zone. Not as healthy as Slovenia's Skype now. Rifle with the RPG, trying to throw it down. Job's going to go through. Chaos. Kane going to go down. Skype going to be the one to do it, so he stayed on through the mountain. PhD wasn't enough, but Snipe with 6 eliminations. Player right on the edge of his box. He's going to take down Snipe. And now Snipe versus Thomas versus Rifle. There's RPG's going to go through. He may have to get shockwave launcher, but I've got a shotgun for you, says Rifle. As he takes him down. 5 eliminations. Rifle versus dual media Snipe on the low ground. RPG gets shockwave launcher as well. He's got too many things to reload. Will it be enough? Will he be able to do it? Will he Snipe in a bad spot though? Does he have floppers? Does he have anything to make it work? Does he have any build? Shot go through. Does that build dropping down? Shockwave's not going to be a factor here. RPG going to be used. Rifle concerned on only using that. I think this may be the key to picking up the victory royale. A lot of builds remaining here for him. This is the game. Snipe is running out. RPG going down. That should be the shot, and it is. He gets the tag. Drops down. Shotgun for the victory royale. A brilliant decision from Rifle, often to use the actual rocket launcher instead of that mythic shockwave launcher because the zone goes back over old builds. He needed to destroy them. If you're covered, you're not going to be able to get through. So rather than wasting the rocket ammo, uses the destructive potential, secures the victory royale, and he says to his org mates, it's not about you right now, it's about me. All sees this opportunity. 3 games down, 3 games left. Zeke, Bala, Shio, please let us know what's going on because this is so tense at the top. This is absurd.
It is absolutely tense at the top. I mean, EU is firing on all cylinders today, and it is an all-out battle at the top. We have to take a look at the standings. Now, we know coming into this game, Anas was holding that number 1 spot. But the question becomes, how many points has he racked up in that last game? And is he still hold that number 1 spot?
I think it's going to be a dead heat at the top. I mean, it's neck and neck for so many different people because we've seen this kind of bounce all around. Everybody wants to be involved in this race.
And Desiptos is the one who's all the way in the lead in first place, 32 points, 9 eliminations, and he's playing so well that he doesn't even need a victory royale.
No, he doesn't. Not at all. Flois is up there. He kind of had that first moment, that game 1 win. And then Rifle is kind of in order there, but all the players who won the games are literally tied up at 30 points. It's all about Elam.
Le premier, il y a 0 victoire, 0 victoire.
Things are going so fast.
9 kills, 32
From
points.
6th to 10th, Rezon is still holding on to his spot. Froggy, who was 2nd, is now in 9th. For Thomas HD, Letwick, these legend status names are just doing everything they can. It is not enough to keep up with the top 5.
And Rifle is showing he belongs in that top 10, right? Coming off his first game, an 11th place with 2 eliminations. Second game, 73rd place, and now the victory out with 6 eliminations. These are the swings we need to see if people want that number 1 spot.
And there are swings happening. They might not all be seen because you can see it. The deal in 19th place, he just had a very significant game. Look at the elims for him. He's actually tied up with those players up at the top of the leaderboards in terms of elims. He just needs to convert on some of these other games to make it really count.
Yeah, everyone past the top 10 are still hungry, and if they can't make these end games, just look at the elims for everyone. Carrot, Squeeze, AR Basco, they're past 5. They're fighting in that mid game, in the early game, doing whatever they can to get points and stay relevant after game 3 of this competition.
Guys, we are off to the races. We are halfway through this sprint, and we can see the finish line there. The question is, who will cross first?
The blocks are off. The starting blocks are completely off. These guys are off to the races, like you said. And we're kind of trying to see who's going to catch up. When we get to the finish line, we're basically halfway there. And at this point, just trying to extend the lead until we get towards those final games and start dashing towards the win.
You gotta pace yourself though, right? You've seen it in end games, you've seen it on the leaderboards. These guys who are coming up on top to start with are now not being able to hold on to the first place slot, and it's about first place.
And there's only one active champion to go around. I mean, there's a lot of stuff, as you mentioned, about that we did miss out of this last game. You gotta break it down for us, man.
That we do. There are so many things for these guys doing. It's kind of a freestyle on some attempts. Snipe for him. Long range, charge shotgun shots on players like Bad Snipe who started the day off so strong, but Snipe will start to rise. And there's another one. He's just looking through these small peak boxes, just the space in the end game to build up the box and get more of these. Every time you look out, there's so many people fighting to try to stay alive.
Yeah, you mentioned Bazil, who was very much alive in that last game, getting a record amount of 5 eliminations so far in his run in these grand finals. After that, still looking for more for everyone who was in this foot race. It was intense. They wanted to have a leg in the competition.
And we said it, things that were missed. 7 Tour goes off on a spree, back-to-back elims, and he does it so well. There are so many people here in his lane, but for most of them, it's a false start in this endgame.
Yeah, he was sitting beside that storm so much, looking for shots from box to box, had the AR to clear out walls. After that, got into boxes himself and couldn't get things from range. He was right up in your face and got elims on players like Mr. Savage. Moved past that though and still played a phenomenal game, ending somewhere near top 15.
But there's no signs of anybody lacking anyone else, except for maybe to become legends, guys. There's so many of these names starting to push up towards the top, and look at that back-to-back. 2 players looking to lobby focus on the same person, and it works out for one, but then the player who he actually had taken a little bit from ends up getting put down. That was Snazy too.
That was a rough run for Right Flicker. Just look at all the things he had to overcome. Box to box while getting third parties, still got the elimination down, got to hold down the wall, and the coolest RPG shot after this awesome elimination on the Thomas HD I've ever seen. But he was saying it was hard to actually get these reloads down, get these power weapons situated, but he shoots an RPG, catches himself with a waterfall, and then connects with a drop-down charge pump. What a play.
What a shot at the end. That is ridiculous. We've seen that a number of times when the Caddy launcher players kit Shockwave launcher so good, but in that case, he doesn't opt to use it at all, just relies on his pure instincts.
Dude, that's all it takes sometimes. Someone likes to say it best. Some days you just have to make sure you can hit your shots better than someone else. And for Rifle, that's what we're seeing. He's like, hey, big time to make the moves. It's happening now. But guys, if the competition does heat up, we need to cool down. We have 3 games left before we make an FNCS champion. But with that being said, we're going to step away. When we return, the conclusion from Europe. See you guys at 5.
Ouais.
réglé.
Je ne suis plus en panne.
Youpi! Bravo, papy! Tu es le meilleur préparateur du monde entier!
C'est du mal à le préparer. Non, pas du tout. J'ai trouvé ce livre dans ma bibliothèque. Tout savoir sur les ordinateurs.
Alors tu ne veux plus que nous le rapportions chez nous
Non, surtout pas. J'en ai besoin pour un travail important.
pour taper des lettres et des chiffres.
Non, pour battre le record de ma mythique au jeu de Bouboule la poule.
Figurez-vous que j'ai pondu 4
Alors, vous comprenez que j'ai du pain sur la planche si je veux rattraper mon retard.
Le phare de Papy Rapide.
Les mâles, Georges et Lily passent la journée à bord du bateau des Papidog.
Est-ce qu'on pourra aller sur l'île aux pirates aujourd'hui, Papy Dog?
Oui, Danny, mais avant, nous devons livrer cette caisse de marchandises à mon ami Papy Rabbit.
Et où est-ce qu'il habite, Papy Rapide?
Sur un rocher.
Sur un rocher?
Tout à fait. Dans ce phare, plus précisément.
Oh!
Ah, oui, matelot.
Je vous apporte votre ravitaillement.
Oh, merci beaucoup, grand-père chien.
Aujourd'hui, je suis venu avec mon équipage. Danny, Peppa et Georges.
De la visite, oh, je dois dire que je n'ai vu personne depuis des lunes. Je me sens un petit peu seul, moi qui n'ai que le ciel et la mer pour me tenir compagnie.
Depuis combien de temps est-ce que vous êtes là?
Depuis mardi.
Oh!
Oh, j'ai des tas d'histoires à vous raconter, si le cœur vous en dit.
Non, merci.
Oui, s'il vous plaît!
Alors voilà, il y a la mer et le ciel et le... et je me suis mis au banjo. Vous voulez que je chante?
Non, merci.
Oui, s'il vous plaît!
Chaque fois que je me lève, la mer est là, et le ciel aussi. La mer, le ciel, la mer, le ciel.
Voici du fromage.
Oh, depuis le temps que j'en voulais.
Et un livre qui vient de paraître.
Comment être un bon gardien de phare? Cela peut toujours servir.
Oh, et pourquoi est-ce que votre maison s'appelle un phare?
Suivez-moi, je vais vous montrer.
L'escalier monte en colimaçon jusqu'en haut du phare.
L'escalier tourne, tourne et tourne!
Je l'ai appelé un phare parce qu'il possède un très puissant système d'éclairage à son sommet. Il brille pendant la nuit, ce qui permet aux marins de se repérer. Et quand il y a du brouillard, j'utilise cette corde de brume. Brouillard!
Vous criez fort!
Il n'y en a pas aujourd'hui, juste la mer et le ciel. L'histoire, je voudrais vous raconter.
Merci, nous devons partir.
On a prévu d'aller sur l'île aux pirates aujourd'hui! Au revoir, Papy Rapide!
Profitez bien de la mer et du ciel, les enfants.
Oh oui!
Hello and welcome back to continue coverage of the FNCS Grand Finals. I'm your host, Zeke, joining us here on the desk as analyst. We got Travis, we got Wallace, EW. Gentlemen, we are halfway through the leg of this race, and the last 3 games are going to dictate who walks away as an FNCS champion. We're just going to get back into it because we have games on deck. We're sending it back over to our casters, Sundown and Clay Sailor, to get into the action. Take it away, boys.
Georges s'était caché derrière Papy.
Thank you so much, Zeke, Shio, and Balda, and welcome back, everyone. This is game number 4 of the EU FNCS Finals. 3 games have been down. We're also jumping a little bit into this one so we can stay up to date. Clay, what do you think of the action so far? It has been tense, and it is going to be a nail-biter coming into the canvas. We saw the top is only separated by a few points, and there was a 3-way tie there. The third, of course, it all breaks down based on tiebreakers, but our Victory Royale winners are in 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. And Deceptos is in 1st with no Victory Royale. We're hopping on board here first, though, with Thomas HP. He was able to get Shockwave launcher and that missing card stock into the inventory. So he goes aggressive in the mid-game, though, however, is the question.
Le brouillard se lève.
And that's what he's looking for right now. We talked about just how valuable that mythic loot is coming out of Patty. He also has all of the excess shields and the guaranteed launch pad that comes from the vault. But you still have to execute on the rotation because while it is super valuable, everyone and their mother and their grandmother and probably their 3rd and 2nd cousins and that one person you talked to in 3rd grade the one time as you're at the water fountain, they all want this mythic at a much higher percentage at actually closing out the game.
And Thomas is no stranger to doing that. We've seen him do it before many, many times. But today, winless on the day. There's still 3 more games for him to get this win. But getting tagged up in this early portion of the game is hard for you and for your loot because you have to invest time, you have to invest mass and that shield to use it there. If you see Curiosity going to fall there in the feed, Thomas has to be careful about going for drops like that. Standing still is never okay in Fortnite because it will always get you tagged out. He was luckily able to avoid it.
And Thomas HD knows all about that, known for being one of the best and most accurate players in Europe, particularly with those hunting rifles and sniper rifles, and able to punish the players looking to throw those shots in there and to rack up damage for Storm Surge. That's what we talk about when it's all about the tags going through there. But now we're going to take a look at a quick little replay here there as Lois will be able to pick up an Ewan as he's going through here, but then I believe he fell right after that.
And he's in a different spot. And he was normally, if he doesn't have fallen, Jesse, he in the gas station has been changing up loot spots every single game today, and it doesn't seem to be working out after his great performance in that first game.
And Wolfie's actually also going down to himself there, which to me indicates he probably might have tried to RPG too close there. Wasn't a storm signal going off, so he will be taken out. We saw him go down early last game as well. Rifle actually going to yoink that elimination away there. As you can see, Thomas trying to close in, get as much pressure here. Rifle did close out that last game, so getting another elimination there. Really good job on Thomas, using that shot play horizontally, closing the distance on the passive, and giving a little donkey laugh and take the L. If you're in Party Royale Island right now, you got that combo? Can you hit that combo real quick? Give him the donkey laugh and the L with a quick little dab, and then back into the L. Show him what you got. Show Thomas HD some love, because that was a well-executed play there. He's going to look to continue to roll with that loop into the final.
And all Thomas was answering, Mongrel falls on the other side of the map as well. So they're definitely needing to change it around. And this is something that's unique to see, is that the players near the top are not stopping. They are not stopping their aggression because they are near the top. They want to keep pushing the pedal. They realize how close it is. They say, you know what, if you're going to catch me, you need to go just as aggressive as I am, if not better. Deceptos is looking for a snipe, almost hits it, and he barely even saw that player. Would have been one to definitely put in the montage in the highlight reel. He's got to be careful. There's a player nearby, and he needed those tags because he is below Storm Surge.
24 below, 27 below, so it's going to continue to drop. You can see 77 players left. Once the storm does close in, that Storm Surge will come into play. Don't forget that is 25 damage every 10 seconds. It's only the 3 minis that's very rapidly going to take through, but you should have an opportunity here. Multiple players rotating in front of him. Still 5 below after that 32 tag, so not quite enough, but might have a nice little ambush opportunity, especially with however, he needs to be careful of this. And I think one of those players has to be below Storm Surge because they're in the zone. Still pressing really aggressively.
Heads up tag there by Deceptos to get another tag for that Storm Surge. He's hopping the box. He's telling it. He says, you know what? I don't want to wait anymore. I want that tag. And with that elimination, he secures himself a placement point as well as the elim point. Going into that top 75 placement threshold.
Yeah, good job. So huge impact elimination there. We talk about tags, which is when you're just trying to land shots for some damage, not necessarily looking to convert, but a massive conversion, which ends up being 2 points to the placement swing, puts him well above the Storm Surge threshold. So their number 1 place, and not going to be threatened by that.
Désolé la personne qui vient d'arriver, mais...
Thomas has been mastering it so far, but he does get tagged up again. This is not good for Thomas. He's at the shotgun launcher. He's got a lot of builds, and he's running out of field. As he's going to get a nice game, and we'll see him shotgun here momentarily. No, decides not to. His carry seems like he ran out of master. Was just in a bad situation, and Thomas capitalized yet again. And we've seen this in the first game. We saw him get mid-game Elam. But this is the first time he's been able to actually get in Elam and get the loot that comes with it. So that's going to be really good. It's really scary for these competitors.
N'hésitez pas à liker et pour soutenir la chaîne.
And a good spot is Artist. As Ken takes him down very, very low. Artist can have to make a play, but there's no play to be made there from him.
And the Storm was on his back, forcing him to rotate through. And also, good job dropping down, picking up whatever he could get there, because you notice not a ton of materials coming over just below the elimination counter to the right of his name. You can see the total number of builds he has available as it does start ticking down. So only about a third of the maximum available, because when you're in the competitive mode, there is a max cap. It's not 999 metal, 999 wood, 999 brick. No, you can only carry 500 of each, which ends up equating to 150 total builds. Now, we're going to switch on over to the initial replay here of Hen putting pressure down towards the fight and getting kind of this first damage onto Arden. Just like a really good job making sure he's closing this out, and you can see, because the Storm is pressing up on the back, and Arden doesn't have the supplies or anything to really get past him, he's just forced to go, and Hen taking that he had rotated and then turning around. A really good job picking up that elimination. Now we're going to hop back on board with our current leader, Gamers Origin Decepticons.
Yoyox
That's
Deviant.
really good for players like Rezon. They have not had to move this entire game as it's coming to a close here. He's got a good position in zone as well, as we see a lot of players go down. Function will be a factor in this next zone as it starts to close. We only need 10 players out there. A little bit less of the players alive, as this is a harder rotation for some players to make. Decepto Cowser is in first, is not going down at any moment in time. Constantly looking for tags, constantly looking for picks, constantly looking for anything he can to continue to spread his lead even more, because he's only in the lead for this by 2 points. Now will definitely be in the lead by at least 3 with that elimination, but that's not going to be enough for him. He wants to be 10, 15 points, however many more he can increase. That's what he wants to be, and he's actually following the path of Rezon right now.
And trying to do his best to play Fortnite as a platformer, just hitting all the scratch pads, but unfortunately missing the second one, and he could end up paying for it as the spray comes through. And now he's going to be forced to burn some of the shields there, make sure he gets himself back up. You see Rifle moving past him there. That was the match number 3 winner, trying to continue his momentum and rolling forward. And now back on board here with Deceptos. Burn 2 of his minis and one of the big pots. Also down to just 2 builds and 2 crash pads. So player right next to him, not owning the wall, and he follows up. 1, 2, 3 shots, but he needs to back off right away because he picked up Rack. But then another player was squeezing in towards the end. And this is that 4th circle kind of crunch we talked about, where everyone's piling in, establishing their box on the edge of the zone, trying to pull the half in, half out, but not get eliminated and not end up being the focus of other players.
Je suis en train de galérer à monter là, il y a l'autre chat.
Segmented off towards the side. Now we swing on over to Kayson, who also has Daisy right by him. Kayson currently throwing some great shots and in an awesome gatekeeping position.
And in a very good spot because there's no one really looking at him in that area. Now, Jones is not cool where he wanted to. He will be in an awkward spot. But you see a shark coming through the background, hitting some players. Somebody else down below just trying to stave off the pressure. The lobby spray coming through. And that's what happens when you need a little bit of a loot goblin. It's a long going to go down, but he's not looking to get another elimination there. Someone else trying to rotate out as well. A lot of shots going down. Everybody firing. He finds a man's little foot there as he's getting the shot down to him, but that elimination is going to go over to the deal. So based on not able to capitalize on second elimination, but at least able to pick up 1.
And you can see the thought process behind Pinky, the deal right there, trying to get around, or the deal picking up Pinky there, trying to get around and rotate the side, using kind of the water and the path that was there, but both the sharks and the lobby focus, and the fact that the players had already established themselves in the zone, that the late rotate wasn't going to pay off. As now, look at the players who are stacked on top of each other here. We're going to hop on board with Letwick, who's going to pick up Floppa Michael. We are inside the top 50, so second placement point has gone over. Now back on board with Letwick again, trying to push through and find a second Elam. It's Rifla who's going to get down. That was the match number 3 winner, so still plenty of the top players left in this one.
I think Chris goes down is always continuing to push this advantage, but he doesn't have a in reversal. He's got the poppers, but no extra minis. This is not what he wanted from that lead. He was hoping for Big Shield, Chug classes, any more minis there, but not able to get it. Maybe wonder if Rifle was able to steal some of those away. And he decides to disengage and accidentally letting near split there. The Shoki down there as well. Slender, Vadil, Queasy, Payson down there as you see them painting through. Rifle, though, in a very good spot to look at anybody trying in the zone and shot continuing to hit here for him is he's tracking beautifully through the air. Milan will fall. They're running out of AR ammo though, so this is concerning. He's not able to pick up any of these eliminations. It's not really worth it.
Yeah, he's desperately looking for the siphon because he doesn't have a big pot to take himself over. This is a half in, half out zone, so he's just trying to keep the players from rotating in. But as you see in the bottom right hand corner, pretty much everyone has already made it right to the edge of the circle. So once we move into zone number 6, aka the moving zone and the late game, it's all going to be about the rotation